by yourself, with an entire country watching your every move. You've dreamed of this day your entire life, breaking through the crowds and skating ever so proudly up to the stand that tells the world that you have won the gold. Just 4.5 minutes alone on the ice. And this time the effort might take you beyond the present, because on the horizon is a place in the mountains called Albertville, site of the '92 Olympic Games, and that's the ultimate dream. You have a chance to skate in the tracings of the legends of the sport. In the '80s, figure skating took on an aura of international confrontation, and great rivalries were born. Scott Hamilton dominated the early part of the decade, but had to withstand the challenge of Canadian Brian Orser. Elaine Zayak, who brought power to the sport, and Rosalind Sumners with her grace and poise, an American rivalry. East Germany's Katharina Witt would ultimately knock Roz off the victory stand and capture Olympic gold. Katharina would lose her world championship to another American, Debbie Thomas. But at the Olympics, it was Katharina. As the decade wound down, two great talents named Brian, Boitano and Orser. Now it's a new decade and time for new rivalries. Kurt Browning, world champion. Christopher Bowman. Tonight, the 1990 world title is on the line. Midori Ito, world champion. Jill Trenery. The sun is rising on a new era in skating, and we're all here on the coast of Nova Scotia to see how figure skating in the 90s will unfold. Overflow crowd at the Metro Center in downtown Halifax, Nova Scotia. These knowledgeable fans have filled this arena all week. They've been here for the 1990 World Figure Skating Championships. Good evening, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and welcome to Halifax for a special edition of Olympic Winterfest Countdown to Albertville. Tonight will feature the ladies' final. It holds promise of being a truly amazing competition. That's coming up in about an hour. We'll also look back at the men's final concluded here on Thursday evening. This is my first trip to the World Figure Skating Championships. Scott Hamilton has competed in this event many times. Scott, you won the competition in the men's 4 times. The ladies tonight, though, has such promise. It's truly an amazing competition.
Well, you surely picked a wild one to attend for the first time. This is an unbelievable event. The ladies' competition is so tight here. The top 5 ladies all are in contention for a medal. 3 of those ladies are Americans. 4 of those ladies are in contention for the gold. One possibility, Jill Trenery. If she is first in the long program or even second to Midori Ito, she becomes the world champion. It is going to be a wild event.
Well, one reason for the complexity of the scoring is that this is not a single night event. The competition actually began much earlier in the week. And for more on that, let's go to our colleague, Pat O'Brien.
Well, Vern, there have been so many surprises and changes here, I really don't know where to begin, but we'll begin with an ending. The compulsory figures, which account for 20% of the competition, are after this world's history. They have taken the event that has changed the course of skating so many times, and they have thrown it out. And after what happened this year, nobody is more pleased about that than Midori Ito. For 1,000 winters, figure skating has begun with figure skating. And when you are the world champion, 1,000 hours of practice is never enough. The ice freezes at 0 centigrade in Nagoya, Japan, just like it freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit in Colorado Springs, where Jill Trenery spends 1,001 hours for the extra edge. And on a cold winter's morning in Halifax, when they gathered for the compulsories, Jill Trenery proved that when this part of the sport is done properly, it can be beautiful. Jill did it properly. Even on game day, there's always room for one more lesson. And even on game day, there's room for disaster. When it was over, Jill Trenery was in first place. Midori Ito was in 10th. The victory and the defeat branded on the ice. But you could see it elsewhere as well. You knew the Empress was in trouble, and before long, all of Japan knew it.
2つの後の2女子選手の結果がまだ分かんないんですね。それを含めてですね。
ジュニア、すみません、世界フィギュア、伊藤やや出遅れ。
You don't need us to tell you who had a better day. As Jill shared it with the media, they looked like they were sitting before a queen. And so, the royalty moved on to the short program. And the long and short of this was that there was still work to do. The wannabes were here. You know Christy Yamaguchi, but quickly, who's this? Quickly, how about this? When you are in 10th place, you make an adjustment. And whatever Midori Ito did, the Japanese ought to package it. The girl they call the jumping flea jumped into the lead. Not to worry, right? Jill Trenery began showing that grace and beauty have a way of defeating pressure. And her coach, Carlo Fassi, concurred. Not to worry, right? Want to bet? She was so far away from the way it was supposed to go, missing crucial combinations that Carlo couldn't watch. In fact, he left in the middle of it. Not only did Jill open the door for the others, she put out a welcome mat. And the first to say thank you was the Soviet, Natalia Lebedeva. The Japanese were so happy their TV person could barely interview the star. The star, when the night began, went back into the darkness. Stepping over the welcome mat next was the pride of Bountiful, Utah, Holly Cook. And until this moment, she was a wannabe. After her skate, she was the heir to the throne. With this performance, the judges put her in second place. Ever get one of those phone calls when you just know something's wrong? Well, somebody got one of those calls. you happy now? Good?
Yes, I'm so happy.
Is your foot hurt or no?
So.
But you are very happy.
Yes, I'm so happy. And tomorrow, free skating. I'm...
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The real question is, who will be taking the final bow? It may look like it here, but this thing is definitely not over.
Well, I usually went over, but Joseph didn't.
After all of that, here's the way they stand entering the free skate. Natalia Lebedeva is in first place. Holly Cook in second. Jill Trenery third. Midori Ito is fourth. And Christy Yamaguchi is fifth. When we return, we'll show you the men's final concluded here on Thursday night.
We've already showed you how the compulsories pretty much decided the ladies' competition. Over on the men's side, what the compulsories and the judges did was take an awesome field and turn it into two men. No, I take that back. They took the rest of them out and created a two-man war for the gold. The Cold War may be over, but somebody forgot to tell Victor Petrenko. Canada is one of the friendliest countries in the world, but Kurt Browning doesn't care. The USA usually wins the wars, but not this one. Christopher Bowman's short program was sensational, but it fell short. And so it came down to two, and it was almost a battle of confidence. As Browning was finishing a near-perfect short program, Petrenko was standing in the wings. And while he was preparing to go out on the ice, the vibes he was getting from the Canadian crowd and Kurt Browning was, follow that act, buddy. And so he did. Did we say it was a battle of confidence? Let's go back a moment. A year ago, Petrenko was so favored, it was like throwing caution to the wind. But at the Paris Worlds, he was out of it early in the short program, leaving the door open for the Americans to go ahead one more time. And after a surprising show of brilliance from Browning, Petrenko didn't even show. A year ago, when we visited Victor in his hometown of Odessa on the Black Sea in the Soviet Union, we discovered that he was quite the rebel. For one thing, he trains far away from the mecca of skating, Moscow. Here in Odessa, he's a rebel with a cause. In fact, he was driving down that road to success. But the hammer and sickle was taken out by a maple leaf. Canada's Kurt Browning got the gold and a year's worth of sensational photo opportunities.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It's been up, it's been down. The beginning was, of course, really exciting. With the new title came a lot of new opportunities.
But when you live your life inside a fishbowl, not only can everybody look in, they have the advantage. Because on the other side of the glass, you can't drown.
I started feeling that because I'd won this one competition that I was not allowed to make any more mistakes. Making mistakes is Kurt's style. I'm positive I fall down more than any other world champion has ever been. I train a lot for fun, and I try things for fun sometimes, and falling never bothered me before. All of a sudden it was.
In fact, the world champion took a world-class fall, and coming into this Worlds, he'd gone from first to third. And suddenly he was not only losing the battles, but the entire war.
Now the Russians think that they can win. Now the Americans think that they can win. If I'd have cleaned up every competition I stepped on the ice, then all those guys would have been floating into Halifax going, well, all the pressure's on Kurt. I've got no pressure. If I don't win, Kurt was expected to win anyways. But now all of them have a chance. So now I've shared my pressure with everybody. How's that for positive thinking?
Well, when you fall off the horse, you get back on.
On track, and I have a really good chance of skating good in Halifax, and I don't think that this whole thing is worth it. It's not worth losing your own identity. It's not worth stressing yourself out over, because that's not what gets productivity. So I'm going to go into Halifax happy, and I bet you I'm going to skate great.
Kurt Browning has already had a terrific performance this week in both the compulsory figures and the original program. But if he's to win, he must outskate Viktor Petrenko of the Soviet Union. Petrenko, Browning, and Bowman. They're next.
Representing the Soviet Union, the L'Union Soviétique.
From Odessa in the Soviet Union. Currently in first place after a superb original program. 20-year-old Viktor Petrenko. Fresh from a championship in Leningrad.
Program is loaded with content. Beautifully choreographed program. His opening jump is combination of two jumps, triple axel, and a triple toe loop, and he hangs on to it. Beautiful. At the European Championships, he left this next jump out. It's a back spiral into triple axel. And he leaves it out again.
That really is interesting. Why do you suppose he did that?
A triple axel, triple toe loop combination is a statement in itself. And I think he probably just feels he didn't need to take the risk of doing another triple axel. But he needs his triple lutz. And he lands that too. Triple. Sack out, nicely done.
Viktor Petrenko came in with an ever so narrow lead over defending champion Kurt Browning. How's he doing?
So far, he's skating very cautiously, as he did in the European Championships. It worked out there. He might have noticed that Kurt Browning did not have a good warm-up, and he might feel that a so-so safe performance might be able to win this thing. Russian split into triple toe loop.
Is skating first among the final 5 competitors. Browning will be next. Now, in the short program, he had to follow Kurt Browning. Is it to his advantage to skate first here?
I don't necessarily think so, only because he had to come right out of the warm-up to skate, and he's not known as being a stamina skater. So if you start your program a little tired from warm-up, it could come back to haunt you at the end of your routine. important to note here is that you're only judged at what you do. According to the program that he's been doing all week, he's taking it real easy, but he's going to need some content real soon if he expects to hold off Kurt Browning. Triple loop, combination of the double toe loop. A slight 2-foot landing in that double loop. Or triple loop.
Well, he's got 90 seconds left in his program, and he's had a problem with stamina historically. See how he finishes.
Oh! That was meant to be a double axel. Looks like he's running out of gas. The jumps are losing their height. His arms are coming down. Again, it's the end of his program. He left a lot of his jumps out. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to beat a good performance by Kurt Browning.
Victor Petrenko win the European Championships just a month ago. And there's a look of chagrin in his face that was not there then.
Well, I'm sure he realized the Europeans that a safe performance would win there. But a safe performance when Kurt Browning is next to skate may not do it.
And there's Kurt Browning, ready to defend his champion, and all of a sudden room has been left at the top, and you'll have the home crowd behind him. And there's a guy who can light up a crowd, Christopher Bowman of the United States. He's fighting for the bronze medal tonight, and he'll skate last. Now here are the marks for technical merit for Victor Petrenko, Scott.
Oh, those are a little generous, I think. He started out great triple-triple combination. Then he started playing it safe. He left a lot of things out. His performance, you can tell by the audience reaction, was not a giant killer. I think an average performance by Kurt Browning could win this thing.
Now let's check the marks for artistic impression, which are next.
Oh, 5 9s, 4 of them, 5 of them, 4. Those are a little high. I really feel like he did a nice program. He's a classical type of skater. Good lines, good presentation, but I really didn't think that he delivered it with all the intensity that he could have.
Kurt Browning is next. We'll be back after this message and a word from your local station.
My career.
Defending world champion from Alberta in Canada, skating before the home crowd, 23-year-old Kurt Browning.
Canada, Kurt Browning.
He was a surprise winner last March in Paris. He's had to live with this championship now for a full 12 months. He's in second place going into the free skate.
And he doesn't waste any time. His opening jump, the way he's been doing it in practice, is a quadruple toe loop. He's the only man to ever land this in the world in competition. Triple toe loop, double toe loop. Double axel, half loop, triple sow cow. Nicely done. His next jump he's been having trouble with in practice all week. It's a triple flip, but his takeoff is much too quick and it's very scary. Looking right here, he picks back. And he hangs onto it.
Since winning in Paris, Kurt Browning has really had an inconsistent season. You had to defend. How tough is that?
The defending year is the toughest year you could possibly imagine, emotionally, skating-wise, in every way possible. There's so many demands on you. so many pressures, and all of a sudden you feel like you have to live up to the image of a world champion. The next sequence of jumps are really going to win this thing or lose it for him. Triple axel. Double loop. He has another triple axel planned here. If he lands this and just plays it safe the rest of the program, the world title is his. Triple axel, he steps out of it a little bit, slight falter. He did not put his other foot down, and turnout is not supposed to count as a deduction.
Scott, in a sense, it's head-to-head competition with Trenko and Browning. Does Browning have the lead thus far?
I would say yes, but a problem with Kurt Browning is he hasn't been training his program all the way through. So nobody knows what he's capable of doing once he's tired. And he needs a few more things in order to win this. Triple loop jump. Last triple jump. Triple toe loop, that's it. That should be good enough to win the world title for the second time in 2 years.
With 30 seconds to go in the performance as he was skating toward us, Kurt Browning even had time to look at his coach, Michael Uranic, and wink.
Well, he knew he had it. He knew he had it. You know, you can sense it. The ice feels good. Bam, that's it. You know you've got it under you, and he just knew. Let's take another look at one of the jumps that assured him this title. Triple axel, look at 3.5 times. Look at the height on this jump. It's enormous. Double loop jump to tie it off. Very difficult combination. What a performance. He hasn't won all year convincingly. A lot of people felt that he shouldn't have repeated as Canadian champion. But who cares when you can come out when you need to come out, give the performance of your life, and win another world title. That's just terrific.
Marks for Kurt Browning, for Trenko Harris. Where is the technique?
Whoa!
5'8", 5'9", 5'9", 5'9", 5'9".
That still reflects the quality of that performance. It makes you wonder if he would have gotten a 6-1 if he would have done the quad.
23-year-old Kurt Browning from Edmonton, Alberta. And now we wait the marks. Here they are.
Well, they went down a little bit by 2 of the judges. Again, he's a strong technical skater. He's a great performer, but he's still got some developing to do, believe it or not. 2-time world Great performance. He needed to hit it after the guy he needed to beat. Incredible.
So the gold belongs to Kurt Browning. There is still one medal to be decided. Christopher Bowman currently in 5th place, but he's got a shot at the bronze. We'll see Christopher Bowman in just a bit, but before we do, let's catch up with Pat O'Brien.
All right, Vern, thanks. Well, I'm in the edit truck, and for a reason. Usually before one of the top skaters goes onto the ice, we show you what we call a profile. You know, before Kurt Browning skated, we showed him riding a horse. Before Victor Petrenko, we showed you pictures of him throwing rocks into the Black Sea. And we had one prepared on Christopher Bowman as well. Honest, Rich, hand me that. Here it is. We really had it done. But you're not going to see this, and for good reason. Because the guy who dropped out of the Nationals and arrived here at the Worlds in Halifax had such an incredible week, we'd be cheating you if we didn't show you just that part. So here it is. We'll call it simply Christopher Bowman's week, or how a few not-so-funny things happened on the way to world competition. When Christopher Bowman got off the plane here in Halifax, he was confident, ready to go. Ready to bury the memory of last year when Kurt Browning of Canada took the gold. Lesson learned, right?
Seeing the American flag second to the Canadian flag was like, at that time, someone had slapped me in the face and said, "You idiot! Why didn't you go for the damn brass ring?" And I was really, at that time, I think, turned around, and I promised myself as I stood there in front of our flag that I would be 100% committed to being totally aggressive and going after this.
The commitment took him to the mountains of California, where he was handed a list of strict and ironclad rules. This time, it was going to be no more Mr. Nice Guy. But because of Christopher Bowman's never-ending free spirit, strict and ironclad rules are for other skaters. And if you're his coach, Frank Carroll, this begins to wear you down. And by the time they got to Nova Scotia, well, the soap opera began.
Okay, now we're up next. Do you think you could do an outer forward 8 and get the sideline on, just line it up? Just do an outside 8 on top of it. Yeah. Do you know what's wrong over here or not? Or do you think it's on?
No, I saw it.
Okay, fix it, but don't go over it. You know, do an outside 8. Fix which one is wrong.
First order of business was the compulsories. And under normal circumstances, the coach helps you pick out a patch of ice. The competition can be won or lost here. But these were not normal circumstances. Frank Carroll was nowhere to be found. And you thought Knots Landing had a plot.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting for you. Well, I couldn't get here. I did the best I can.
Okay.
You know, I thought maybe you'd come and look at the ice.
Well, I mean, you were like right here, and, you know, I was waiting for you. We had time.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
Were you and Christopher arguing out there today? Someone told me that.
No, not any more than usual.
What was that all about? Just frustration or?
Well, no, just that, you know, dealing with Christopher and getting your mind and his mind together is a bit of a chore, and sometimes I have to really be very firm. And it may seem like I'm a very animated person anyway, and from a distance you might think that I'm angry when I'm intense, and there's a difference, I think.
I want to do the triple loop. I want to do it on the hip a little more, okay? So I want you to do the stroking, you know, after the ballet loop, and I want to do the Inabau with more movement and flow and the triple loop together, okay? Okay, I know you're tired, but this is the only practice we have of the day. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, Mr. Bowman.
That concludes the warm-up. The practice, I'd ask skaters to please clear the ice.
Good?
Yes.
Well, the first part was good.
Well, yeah, but, you know, you should have finished the end.
Yeah, I'd love to have a drink. I haven't even had dinner.
Help me.
Where are you going? Are you coming downstairs?
I'm a prisoner.
Oh, you can't come down. Prisoner in your own mind.
Is he out of control? I wouldn't say he's out of control, but I think he's near being out of control. And, you know, I try to do what I can, but sometimes I'm very frustrated.
This really is not important to me. I mean, the important thing is I'm doing the very best I can. And I'm only human. I mean, that's just the way I am. I would like it to be, you know, Christopher Bowman, you know, the world champion, the Olympic champion, and do everything that it takes to get there. But at the same time, I don't want it to be where, you know, I'm held back as a person.
Well, Christopher Bowman's week comes to a conclusion one way or another when we come back from Halifax.
Entertaining with some personality.
The final competitor.
Good luck. With class.
And now on the ice, the final competitor in the men's event of the 1990 World Figure Skating Championships. He is both charismatic and enigmatic. 22-year-old Christopher Bowman. He comes in 5th spot with a chance for the bronze medal.
His opening jump seems a little easy by men's standards, but a double axel does that because his next jump is a triple axel. It gives him a great feeling of takeoff. He needs this jump. Taking off forward, 3.5 revolutions in the air. And he can't hang on to the landing. Difficult combination, triple lutz. And double toe loop. He's been doing a triple toe loop, but he doubled it that time. Beautiful triple flip.
He's battling Gregor Filipovsky for 3rd place.
He's been having a lot of trouble with his consistency this week. Nice triple loop. And when watching him, he's gotten better each day in practice. It seems like if he had 3 more weeks, he might be prepared to take on even Browning.
How much of a factor will his conditioning be in the last couple of minutes now?
Be a big factor. He needs to hit everything from now on to assure himself a bronze medal. He missed this the other day in practice, a triple lutz jump, and he nails it.
Been a very tough year for Christopher Bowman. He'll turn 23 on the 30th of March. I think most of you know he absolutely adores the spotlight, and he's had to share it here.
He's working the crowd and the referee. Chris has had trouble getting along with his coach this week a little bit. I think any kind of medal here would be a huge personal victory for him. Triple sow cow. Nicely done in the double toe loop.
Will that do it for him?
It really could, and he throws a triple toe loop in for absolutely an unknown reason. After the problems he's had, great performance. Inconsistent all week. He just pulls it off.
Well, it took him a while, but he got the crowd into it. And now the question remains, was that enough to knock Grzegorz Filipowski out of third place and give Bowman the bronze medal? There's Filipowski. He seems to think it might have been enough.
Here's a replay of that last triple toe loop. He hadn't done it in the program all week. He threw it in at the last minute. I don't know why. Is it guts or complete lunacy? It's guts when you land.
Just mention that we are going to be having the
I've got a sense that Frank Carroll doesn't know why either, Scott.
Well, I think a lot of things Chris does is lost on Frank.
Christopher Bowman.
Bowman for technical merit.
And they're excellent marks. 2.58s and 5.7s, comparable to Victor Petrenko's marks. But without the triple axle.
5.6, 5.7, 5.
Man, I went for it.
The second time you went for it.
Well, you should not. Well, anyway, we'll get it. All head and no heart.
All head and no heart. Here are the artistic impression marks, Scott.
And they're going to go up. He's a great performer, and that'll assure him the bronze medal.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying.
8, 5, 7.
There's a war going on out there.
I
was so lost. You know, I was just trying to get the stuff off.
No kidding. I made up the program, remember?
Well, I'm sure he will. Kurt Browning wins the title. Victor Petrenko finishes second. Christopher Bowman is third. Now, for more on the soap opera, here's Pat O'Brien.
You guys seem to have argued your way through this week.
Oh, yes, definitely.
What's that all about?
Well, it's never easy. Life with Christopher is never easy.
It's hard. It's been a crazy year for
How about life with Frank?
Huh?
How about life with Frank?
Life with Frank couldn't be any better. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for this man.
What did you have to do? What did you think when you went in? What you had to do to get the bronze? I mean,
it was real hard because I felt like I was on cleanup crew, the grand finale. That was kind of a pressure in itself. I was a little tired, trying to get myself together, skating last, but really attack it and just, you know, fight like a dog. I don't care what happens. I don't care what number I have to skate in anymore. I'm not going out there with my head. I'm going out there with my heart. I'm going for it.
What a moment it must be for Kurt Browning, skating before the home folks. He becomes the first man to successfully defend a world championship since Scott Hamilton in 1984. Our same-day coverage of the ladies' competition is next, after this message and a word from your local station.